Tunde and Amaka, the couple everyone wanted to be, the love story Lagos never stopped watching. But behind the laughter and lavish posts hid a truth neither of them was ready to face. One whisper of jealousy, and everything they built began to fall apart. Everyone in Lekki knew Tunde and Amaka, the couple who seemed to have it all. Their faces appeared everywhere, from glossy wedding blogs to lifestyle pages. When they walked into restaurants, heads turned, waiters straightened up, and even strangers smiled. They were young, beautiful, and successful, the kind of couple people admired and secretly envied. He was a calm, focused tech entrepreneur, the founder of a growing fintech startup that promised to redefine digital payments in Africa. She was a fashion designer with over 200,000 followers on Instagram, known for her elegant anchor-inspired designs and her radiant smile that seemed to light up every photo. Together, they embodied Lagos luxury, the soft life everyone wanted. Their home in Chevron was a reflection of that image. Minimalist decor, soft lighting, floor-to-ceiling curtains, and a faint scent of sandalwood that lingered in every corner. The living room was Amaka's favorite place, wide, airy, and filled with touches of her personality. A gold-framed portrait of their traditional wedding hung above the couch, a reminder of the day she felt like the luckiest woman alive. That day, under the humid skies of Enugu, she had looked at Tunde and thought, "This is my forever." But perfection, as they say, is often a filter. Behind the curated smiles and matching outfits, things were slowly changing. It began subtly, with the long hours at the office. Tunde used to be home by 8 p.m., always bringing suya or shawarma from their favorite spot on Admiralty. But lately, he came home long after midnight, smelling faintly of cologne that wasn't his usual scent. He would whisper, "Work was crazy today," before heading straight to the shower, avoiding her eyes. At first, Amaka didn't think much of it. Startups demanded time, after all. But the late nights became too frequent to ignore. She began to notice other things. His phone, once left casually on the dining table, was now always face down. His laughter had changed too, shorter, lighter, almost cautious. Sometimes she'd wake up at 2 a.m. to the soft glow of his phone screen and the faint sound of typing. When she asked who he was talking to, he'd say, "Just the developers in India." It was believable, but something about the way he said it felt rehearsed. Amaka tried to convince herself that it was just stress, that every marriage had seasons. Still, doubt crept in, quiet but persistent. During her fittings or brand meetings, she'd catch herself staring blankly, lost in thought. She began scrolling through his Instagram likes, his tagged photos, and even the company's LinkedIn page, looking for clues she couldn't define. But Tunde remained consistent, gentle, caring, and occasionally distant. It was confusing. Then there was Tiwa, Amaka's best friend since university. Bold, outspoken, always the life of any gathering. Tiwa had been her maid of honor, her confidant, her sister. She was single, ambitious, and never failed to remind Amaka that men were unpredictable. "You think you know these men," she often said, "but you never really do." One Friday evening, Amaka invited her over for wine and gist. The sky outside was painted orange and pink, and the sound of Afrobeats floated softly from the Bluetooth speaker. Amaka sat curled on the couch, her hair wrapped in a silk scarf, while Tiwa poured herself a generous glass of red. "Babe," Tiwa began, swirling the wine slowly, "I've been meaning to say something small." "Oh." Amaka raised a brow. "You've started again. What is it this time?" Tiwa hesitated, her tone softening. "That your husband's PA, Anita, she's getting too comfortable. I saw the way she talks to him at that event last week. The body language wasn't pure, Abeg." Amaka chuckled lightly, brushing it off. "Tiwa, please. Anita is barely 23. She's just a girl trying to keep her job." Tiwa leaned back, her expression unreadable. "You think so? Sometimes these small girls don't know boundaries. And men, they don't know how to draw lines either." Amaka laughed again, but the sound lacked ease. "Tunde isn't that kind of man." "I'm not saying he is," Tiwa replied, her eyes narrowing slightly. "But I'm saying, be watchful." The room fell silent for a moment, the weight of her words settling between them. Amaka smiled and changed the topic, but deep down, a small seed had been planted, one that would grow roots she couldn't control. That night, after Tiwa left, Amaka sat by the balcony overlooking the quiet street. The night breeze carried the scent of rain, and the city lights shimmered like distant stars. Her phone buzzed, a message from Tunde. "Still at the office. Don't wait up." She typed back a simple okay but didn't hit send. Instead, she stared at the message bubble, wondering why her heart suddenly felt heavy. The following weeks blurred into each other. Tunde's absences grew longer, and his excuses sharper. Investors meeting, product launch, internal crisis. Sometimes she'd call and hear muffled laughter in the background, feminine, unfamiliar. When she asked about it, he'd sigh and say, "Babe, you're overthinking again." Amaka began to fill her evenings with distractions, Netflix, wine, endless scrolling through Instagram. Her followers adored her soft girl posts, the candles, the robes, the self-care routines. They didn't know that behind those curated frames, her chest ached from silence. Then came the anniversary dinner, or rather, the one that never happened. She had booked a private table at Noir, their favorite restaurant, complete with a surprise gift, a new watch engraved with "To My Forever." She waited for 2 hours, sipping champagne alone. When he finally called, his voice was tired. "Babe, I'm so sorry. Something urgent came up at work. Can we do tomorrow?" She ended the call without replying. Tomorrow never came. By the next morning, Tiwa was already at her place, pacing and angry on her behalf. "You see, I told you. That man is distracted. These things don't start overnight." Amaka frowned, folding her arms. "Tiwa, please, not now." Tiwa moved closer. "I'm serious. You're my friend. I can't watch you suffer in silence." That Anita girl is always around him. "People are talking, Amaka." "People? What people?" Tiwa paused dramatically. "I can't mention names. But Lagos has ears. Just open your eyes." Amaka wanted to argue, but her heart was already bruised from disappointment. For the rest of the day, Tiwa's words replayed in her mind, echoing louder than reason. That evening, she scrolled through Tunde's office pictures again. In one, Anita stood beside him, smiling brightly at some company event. Her hand rested just a little too close to his arm. It was probably innocent, but in Amaka's eyes, it was proof. She locked her phone and tried to sleep, but her mind wouldn't rest. She remembered their vows, their laughter, the nights he held her close and promised, "You're my peace." Now, peace felt far away. When Tunde returned home that night, she pretended to be asleep. She could smell the faint trace of perfume on his shirt, not hers. He leaned down, kissed her forehead gently, and whispered, "Good night, love." Her eyes stayed shut, but a tear slipped down her cheek. In the quiet darkness of their perfect home, the first crack in their flawless image had begun to show, invisible to the world, but deep enough to change everything. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Teachable Stories by Josh O. Tales.